greatest voice of all times. Period. That's it.
Show your love for Belinda Davis.
For me, Whitney is everything. Yeah. Great artist. Legendary.
That was the moment we've been waiting for.
Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Dick. All right, begins what's happening on the lovely Isle of St. Martin. We begin with the news of something that I noticed that's been happening for quite some time, and maybe I should have paid attention to it beforehand, but I had to experience it for myself in order for me to talk to you about it. And that is, of course, at the Captain Wharf Hodge Pier, or Captain Page Hodge. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the where the big globe is by the boardwalk. You know, then they have the barriers, and then you walk on, and then you could do the fishing. You know, that's where the Chinese get your satay potato. But anyway, so what I noticed is that the harbor, the security guards, apparently they received an order for quite some time now that we haven't noticed that persons are not allowed to walk on or linger around the wharf in Phillipsburg. And that's troubling to me because, as you know, we all know that the Captain Wharf, the boardwalk, is a different type of flex. You know, when you go out with the children, you go to walk, you go to, you know, do your exercise, and you also go to chill, to speak to friends. And then you go in this particular location, which is you're trying to go, so you see where they come with a boat, where the tourists, they drop off the tourists, and then there's a walkway, the wharf right there, and then you walk in onto the boardwalk. But at night, apparently, around 8 o'clock, they block people. What kind of craziness is this, my people? Like, and they do it subtly, because when you walk inside of the wharf itself, by that location where they have all of those barriers, they stand up there and they tell you, oh yeah, so can I help you? As if you need to tell them why you out in the open in St. Martin. I think this is going to be a very chaotic situation eventually. I went myself and I did experience it. They didn't say get the hell out, but it was like, normally we don't allow people here after 8 o'clock or something like that. And I was like, what? It's open air. What are you talking about? You see the Chinese fishing? Don't disturb them. I hope that the harbor can do something about it, because I think it's something that we have to pay attention before it gets out of hand. And then you'll have a security and a civilian situation again. And then we're going to be cussing up first response the whole time, because they have the contract now at the harbor. All right. In other news, cannabis is the cannabis week, apparently, because today they had a Central Committee meeting of Parliament whereby we had a doctorate, a master class teacher, the Mr. Agriculture himself here in St. Martin, Mr. Denisio Wyatt, who was in Parliament. And as for people who know Denisio, he's one of those people who's going to speak his mind, and he's going to tell you exactly where the government failed and what they can do to help not only cannabis, but agriculture on a whole. The presentation, flawless. Oh, it was really good. I got a highlight for you. Let's take a look.
Blessed morning. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Blessed morning, honorable parliamentarians and ministers and the community at large. We are blessed this morning to be here and given an opportunity to share a bit more about the current state of agriculture here on St. Martin. We'll just jump into the slide presentation one time. We plan to take up too much of your time today, so we're going to go straight to the point. Currently, the current stage of agriculture on St. Martin is at its minimum capacity due to a few different factors. Things such as flat land space, which is limited, but still does not, let's say, exclude the fact that we cannot utilize hillside spaces to be able to be productive with agriculture. Limited access to resources. For example, this last year, for the past 4 years, has been a great example with an organization like R4CR, for example, that really brought resources, to NGOs locally that empower them to make steps within their community. So resources is something that's definitely lacking when it comes to getting agriculture up off of the ground. And this is why there's so limited activity going on due to a lack of resources too as well. When we look at limited commercial space, commercial projects, so even though we might not have flat land space, we still have places where we can be let's say, have diversified projects when it comes to technology implementations within them too, which makes it a little bit more easier to move forward in an innovative time. So right now, when you look at limited commercial production projects, there's like one project on the front side with Farm for You, for example, that does pretty good with lettuce, but then it's still limited. Because if everybody decides to buy lettuce tomorrow, they still won't be able to be to a level of sustainability, right? So we need more current commercial-like projects to be inclusive in the development of agriculture moving forward. Things like limited incentives too as well, water, current. Just a brief example, I've been paying water at the farm, for example, for the past 12 years, 150 gillas, maximum 250 gillas. And then when this whole situation with GB occur, I get a bill for like 890 gillas. Things like this, for us as farmers, is difficult because we depend on a lot of water. So when there's no water incentives, electrical incentives, tax incentives, these different things, it makes it even more difficult to be able to push agriculture to a certain capacity and still keep it cost-friendly and affordable to the general public. So we have to keep that in mind. We need more commercial production projects in order to complement our agricultural product. Limited incentives too as well. We need those as well to empower our agricultural projects. Limited policies and laws. I know a few years back, government started off with the agricultural policy. I'm not too sure at this point, for example, how far along that has been doing government any great use, or if there's any laws or any other legislations that came out of that policy to continue to empower the development of agriculture. Because again, we also need that type of reinforcement from government to be able to back agriculture if we do want to see it become a reality. As you know, every other country in the Caribbean, the biggest agricultural incentives are basically supported by governments. We have limited education and participation within our schools, because again, we coming up in a Caribbean country where we have good weather and good soil, we come from a cultural background too, where agriculture was part of our heritage. Over the course of years, we've substituted that for hospitality, which we see now is really just that one pillar that can no longer be firm for us to stand on. So we need to go back to the roots of things, and also going back to the roots of things really mean that we have to get our kids involved, because as those generations come up and don't build a certain love, appreciation, and admiration or passion for agriculture or environment, as you can see today, we have those same results: pollution, not too much environmental positive impacts, overdevelopment, all of these things. So I think to go back to educating the youth is fundamental on how we can be able to move forward for the future with having them lead the way, but also finding it that it's important and be able to love this thing that we call agriculture, because without that, again, there's limited sustainability also to mankind, and that's one thing that we definitely have to be very, very aware of as well. So with that is really the current state of agriculture on the island. There's really nothing going on, and that's really because of all the following points. So with that in mind, there is still possibilities, but those points and agendas below need to be taken into consideration very seriously if we do want to make something a reality here on the island. All right, thank you. I'll also introduce my next colleague, if that's okay, Ms. Sharon Arnell, and she will touch base a little bit on how does agriculture contribute to the country's GDP, and does it have any potential overall? So, Ms. Sharon Arnell, the floor is yours. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wyatt. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. So as just was stated, currently there are no real sustainable and structural investments in agriculture. Thus, the effect on our GDP is limited. However, if priority is given to the sector, it can have a substantial impact on our GDP. For example, when studying in the region, the impact in the region, we can see that the average GDP of agriculture increased from 4.5% in 2013 to 7% and increasing in 2023. And if we look more specifically at the different countries, we see the GDP contributions of over 8% and sometimes 20%. It is very important and interesting to note that the agriculture sector in these countries exists in tandem with the other sectors, such as industry and tourism. So to focus on agriculture as a diverse pillar is not competing with other sectors. Actually, it is complementing the other sectors. As we also see in our research, that this sector, as it develops, it can also have a positive impact on the labor force. where the economically inactive persons can have the opportunity for work in the agriculture sector, just contributing to the reduction of unemployment.
I'm very honored to have you guys at my side. You know, it's been a long journey of 12 years on finding the same people that share the same passion for growth in community, you know. And it's not an easy journey. And again, it still will not be an easy journey moving forward, because as we give this presentation today, again, you could realize that there's really nothing going on. And food, water, shelter, according to the National Recovery Plan a few years ago that was established after Hurricane Irma, the short-term, long-term, short and mid-term responsibilities of government, especially when it comes after a disaster, is first food, water, and then shelter. We need to take these, we need to take those opportunities within that sector of agriculture to strengthen those areas of our food security, water security, and then long-term shelter security too as well. Because those incentives given from a government perspective can only strengthen our people in this sector to move forward and make it something sustainable that we can look forward for our children to call it something as generational wealth. We're lacking so much in St. Martin that if something really happens today, again, the boat stop coming, where do we stand? So from here, I think over the course of years, I do believe that Parliament, one way or another, you know, has an idea of the possibilities, the benefits, and the direction that agriculture can take country St. Martin. So I'm only hoping that this year, under the theme of Parliament being agriculture, that we really start to see something happening in the country before it comes to a time where it takes us a lot more effort, a lot more resources just to get somewhere with agriculture. With that, what I would love to do is go over to a segment of questions that we would love to ask Parliament to help us also to get a better idea of how we can help to, you know, shape this direction with agriculture that we're trying to moving forward, that we're trying to shape to make it something that can be sustainable, as I mentioned, in the long term. So if I get a chance, that'd be great if I could share some questions. That'd be good.
Sure, Mr. Wyatt, yes.
Yeah. I want to also ask Parliament the same question. As Parliament, you know, opened the year pertaining to agriculture, what is Parliament intentions for this 2025 to do about agriculture, animal husbandry, and fisheries? So question number 2, sorry, let me just go down the line.
Yes.
So the next question would be, what policies and laws are set in place to ensure that? Does the current budget, as we realize, for agriculture is at 61,211 guilders, what does Parliament, what intentions does Parliament have in mind to do with such a limited budget? My next question would be, how does Parliament plan to ensure that the legalization of medicinal cannabis, the legalization of medicinal and recreational cannabis be beneficial to the local farmers and small SMEs as originally intended? What is the current status of the Phillipsburg marketplace? And will provisions be set in place to ensure accessibility to local farmers, crafters, and product developers? Last but not least, would be, is government and Parliament willing to work or subsidize an organization to execute agricultural data collection, projects, and inspections? That would be all, Madam Chair Lady.
Whoa! That's a mouthful. That is a lot of information that we have to process, and Denisho You're 200% right. Tell them about themselves. Because during the campaign season, it's always about the lovely promises that how they are going to bring agriculture to another level in St. Martin. Meanwhile, most of the politicians never even get their hands dirty with any dirt. The only dirt they get their hands on is when they get that money under the table. Late night show, when we come back, we talk SoulBeach. Are you going? We go find out. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
What did you do?
Guess what? I got an idea. It's amazing. You see how we have the link sharing all everywhere?
QR link,
The
yeah.
QR link.
Yeah.
Raw Caribbean Channel app. Yeah. You're welcome. Put it in the back.
But it's not an app though. It's not an app. App, you have to like download something to get it on your phone, take up space. It's not an app.
It's like an app. Therefore, it can be an app. So, it's an app. Raw Caribbean TV app. Say it with me, Al. Come on.
It's not an app though. All you gotta do with that, it's a link. You take the link, you hit the bookmark, you say add to home screen, and so it shows up like an app icon, but it's not an app though.
Are you a real person? It is an app because you get to watch all the programs from Raw Caribbean at one place. It is an app.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but factually and technically, it's not an app. Kind of like we do the news, facts,
Yeah.
and you do that thing you do.
Whoa.
Point being, you just go to the QR, you hit bookmarks, and you hit add to home screen, and then you can have the link to, let's give it another name.
The app.
You want to call it the app?
Raw Caribbean TV app.
Jess.
Yes.
Jess, please, give some sense, Jess. Jess.
It's kind of like an app.
That's why she gets the big buck.
It's not an app, though. It's not a app. What the It's not a app.
You kiss your mother with her mouth? My God. Watch Raw Caribbean TV app.
Watch Wharf Caribbean TV app.
Yes.
It's not an app, though.
All right, let's continue our late night for today. The SoulBeach Festival, a 25 years long festival. And yeah, they're making 25 years. They started originally here 25 years ago in St. Martin. It was SoulBeach was the inception took place in St. Martin. And of course, as usual, we dropped the ball. So because we dropped the ball, Aruba was like, hey, you can come over here, we got you. So they stayed there for 23 years. 24 years, and they want to do the 25th right here back in St. Martin. St. Martin already gave $500,000 to these organizers. It originally cost $700,000. However, we paid $500,000, and the franchise was supposed to be $200,000. The French side was like, nah, we're not doing that. We're going to rather spend it and give it to the Carnival Committee on the French side and do a $200,000 festivity. Because, of course, the French side appreciates culture. The Dutch side appreciates money. That's it. And even so, we complain about it. Why are you giving it so much money? Yeah, but you stand to make 30 million US dollars during a time that you wouldn't be making that. And people are like, yeah, but there's so much other things we can do. Yeah, they could, but we put these lovely politicians to be the executors of certain portfolios. So they got to do what they need to do in order to bring people here. Do we have the capacity? That's a different story. That's a different show. Don't worry about capacity, because my worry is not capacity. My worry is to bring tourists to St. Martin. Minister Marinka Gomes, during the Council of Ministers press briefing, said the following.
Remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Marinka Gomes, to address you. Minister Gomes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika, fellow colleague ministers, members of the press, and to the people of St. Martin. Good morning and blessed day to all. I want to take this opportunity to provide you with important updates on several key matters. Budget 2025. I am pleased to announce that the budget for 2025 has been passed, marking the first time in years that we have achieved an approved budget so early in the year. Contrary to claims that there are no new initiatives, this is a realistic, stabilizing budget with achievable revenue and initiatives for 2025. New projects are being developed in parallel and will be included in future budgets once backed by solid data. I extend my gratitude to all members of Parliament for their unanimous approval, and as well as all civil servants who made this possible. With all amendments considered, total revenue is projected at 586 million guilders and expenses at 577 million, leaving an expected surplus of 8 million guilders for the year 2025. As previously stated, I will be preparing a public version of the budget, which will provide greater clarity for the public. This document, which will also be digital, is expected to be finalized by the end of February. Vehicle tax and sticker pickup. In collaboration, of course, with the Ministry of Justice, starting this Friday, vehicle tax stickers will be available for pickup. Delays were due to pending legislation, which was finalized in the Council of Ministers meeting yesterday and will be published today. Once payment is made, you can collect your sticker. Payments via Sento. To modernize payment processes, discussions with Sento began last year. Starting at the beginning of February, you will be able to pay vehicle taxes using Sento with Maestro cards via Windward Islands Bank, Orco Bank, or Banco de Caribe. Previously, online vehicle payments required credit cards. With this upgrade, I hope to see an increase in digital payments, streamlining the process for collecting number plates. Please note that the deadline to pay for your vehicle tax is February 28, 2025. Audit on ghosts civil servants. Concerns have been raised about individuals receiving government salaries without actively working. While monthly payroll approvals are conducted, I have directed the Internal Audit Department and SOAB to conduct a thorough audit to identify and address any ghost workers on the government payroll. This audit will produce a detailed report per ministry specifying individuals receiving salaries without working. Lastly, Finance Friday. Finance Fridays will continue this year on the last Friday of each month, with the first session scheduled for January 31st, 2025. From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., please feel free to walk in and discuss any matters directly with me. I thank you. With regard to the 2%, although more of a education topic, I can confirm that all subsidized schools did receive the 2%. I cannot, however, confirm who all actually paid to their respective staff, including the teachers. But I can definitely do a follow-up. And trust you me, I do hear from these teachers or staff members. They do let me know. So just give me some time to go through my messages, and I'll be able to answer you in a future message. As for the kingdom, I stated it in Parliament, and thank you so much for your article, because your article kind of helps to raise even more awareness of what's happening within the tax office. And yes, a kingdom of its own. I am not blaming no one individual in the tax office. What I am saying, it cannot continue to work the way it's working. Clearly, the manner in which things are being done is not working for the government of St. Martin or the people. And I say that to say, and I've said it many times, even earlier this morning in an interview, it cannot be a one-course model fitting everyone. Your personal situation, Mr. Lee's situation versus mine can never be the same. So to ask individuals to pay back whatever is owed within a policy of a 9-month time frame, I think needs to be looked at more carefully. I would like to know who came up with this 9-month policy, to be honest with you. And these and other matters will be addressed, because what I am having, I believe during the month of January, I can't give you the exact date, but during this month, we will be having heads of departments within finance meeting, where I'm expecting to hear from each head what their goal, their vision, their views are for taking this country for 2025. The reason I'm saying that is because I've been hearing there have been no meetings being held within the respective departments by the department heads. They haven't had structural meetings. How else would we know in terms of the employees? How else would they know where you want to take this organization? Yes, it's one thing to know what your job is. It's a next thing to know the direction of your superiors. You know, and I say that to say that I too will be coming with my plan, my vision, my goals, so that everyone is aligned in understanding this is what I expect. And by means of saying that, I think we need to be a more compassionate country. We've had not only hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017, we've also had COVID, and we've had a crisis called GEBE. And I say that with the utmost respect to GEBE as well, but we also need to understand that persons cannot, and it's not that they don't want to pay BB. I have been hearing people say, Minister, I want to pay. I just cannot pay within this 9-month frame. Do something, make something possible. So if I'm hearing the cries of the people, I have to address them, and it will be addressed in this upcoming meeting. And as for the statement, so it was actually 3 things, but let me add in this because it's very important. That accusation of me being a Nepo baby, I need to, if it wasn't brought forward before, let me make it clear now that individual to whom I listened to. And this is something I think across all ministries, it was asked by myself in Parliament, come up with a policy on persons who are in acting positions. Find out from the relevant ministers how many persons are in acting positions and for how many years. And that is something now that I am going to be tasked with doing. And the reason for that is because, A, we can't continue to use our civil servants. If you believe that this person is qualified for this role, then make it happen. Make the person vast in the position. But to have them 10 years, 10 years acting, no, I think we need to really cut it right now. Look closely at that matter, and I am going to once again dispel that person at the tax office is of no relation to myself, none whatsoever. But I'm very happy to know that her LB was signed yesterday, contrasigned by the governor and myself. Thank you. However, in terms of the monies that were paid towards SoulBeach, and I know that's the 500,000 you're referring to, that was based on unused funds for 2024. To be honest, this is all a part of the Ministry of TIAT's vision, and I would ask that more clarity from that minister can be brought forward as she outlines even more her plans where SoulBeach is concerned.
Now, does it make sense? No. Why it doesn't make sense? And I'm really serious about this. It doesn't make sense because you're only going to order a investigation as to why SoulBeach left Aruba after you pay them $500,000. After you pay them $500,000, you're going to say, and people start to make noise about SoulBeach. The Minister of Finance was like, you know what? I think we should find out why they left Aruba. We wasn't going to do it before. Anyway, take a look.
The Minister of TIAT saw it best fitting to wanting to bring such an initiative back to the floor or the country. And I agree with wanting to bring back SoulBeach just because, A, it started here 29 years ago. This is going to be their 30th year. Bringing it back home. We saw the benefits of it in Aruba. I think a clearer study needs to be done as to why it's no longer in Aruba, though. I believe that should happen because we need to understand if something is working for you, why not continue with it, so that we know going forward what is best for St. Martin, where SoulBeach is concerned. But I think besides the SoulBeach factor, besides the Heineken Regatta factor, there is a next factor, and that's the Carnival factor. And I say that with all due respect because there seems to be this sentiment that the government isn't doing anything on behalf of our own product, our own cultural product, and that being Carnival. And to my understanding, there is going to be an MOU signed between SCDF and the Minister of TIAT concerning funds that they will be receiving. And according to my understanding, again, that these are funds that have never been received by SCDF. So I look forward to seeing more of this MOU because I think it's going to also raise awareness as to everyone's responsibilities, what is their expectations versus ours, and making sure that everyone really gets a fair share of this pie. Fair share.
Let's take another commercial break. When we come back, more late night. Stay with us.
And I fall on my knee. Tell me how to wait a bit. Tell me how to wait to go. Tell me all that I should know. And I fall on my knee. Tell me how to wait to go. Tell me how to wait to be. To evoke some empathy. And I fall on my knee. Tell me how to wait to go. Tell me how to wait to see. Show me all that I could be.
Hello, my people. Make sure you tune in to Sit, Sip, and Chat every Monday at 5 p.m. on TV 15 and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m.
And make sure tune in to the late night show with Andrew Dick from Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. with a repeat in the afternoon for no reason. In the afternoon, the late night show at 3 p.m. Thank you, TV 15.
Thank you, TV 15. Make sure to tune in
Make sure to tune in to the late night.
and Sit, Sip, and Chat.
Late night.
For over 50 years, we've understood the power of connection. Back when connecting St. Martin to the world seemed impossible, we made it possible. From pioneering international calling to introducing digital mobile services and laying the foundations for fiber optic technology, we've kept you connected wherever life or business takes you. And through it all, we've proudly supported the vibrant culture, traditions, and people that make St. Martin unique. But that's not where our journey ends. It's where it starts again. With a brand new commitment to connecting you, we've been working tirelessly behind the scenes to improve our services and bring you a better, more reliable network. We've restored the SMPR1 fiber cable that connects St. Martin to the world, ensuring faster speeds and greater stability. Our mobile platforms are being upgraded, and we've expanded our mobile coverage so you can stay connected wherever you go. Our new customer service system is easier to use and more efficient than ever. Plus, we're continuing to expand our fiber network, bringing you the most advanced internet available. But beyond pioneering technology, we're committed to uplifting our community, because this is our home too. That's why we provide free connectivity to many schools across St. Martin, equipping the next generation with the tools to connect, learn, and grow. At Telem, proudly local, we're here for today, tomorrow, and every milestone ahead.
All right, welcome back. Let's continue with the show.
Are you curious about how Donald Trump's second term as president could positively reshape the Caribbean's future? This video dives into the unexpected opportunities for growth, trade, and tourism that his policies might create for the region. From capitalizing on nearshoring trends and boosting tourism infrastructure, to fostering energy transformation and stronger US-Caribbean ties, we'll uncover how the Caribbean can strategically position itself to thrive in a changing global landscape. Stick around for actionable insights and a comprehensive breakdown that will leave you informed and inspired to understand the bigger picture. Much discussion in the media has surrounded how his radical policies could spell hard times for the rest of the world, including the Caribbean, but it is not all doom and gloom. A second Trump presidency could present a range of opportunities for the Caribbean region, particularly in areas such as economic development, trade, and regional security. Building on his administration's America First agenda, Trump's policies leave openings for the region to capitalize on trade opportunities, improve regional security, and improve its overall economic position. So today, we will focus on the positives that a new Trump presidency may bring for the region and highlight the opportunities that exist for the Caribbean to capitalize on. So stay tuned as we answer some pressing questions on what positive impact a Trump presidency could have for the region. The biggest concern among the media and major nations is what a Trump presidency will do for global trade. As you may know, Donald Trump's trade policy stance is characterized by a strong focus on America First, emphasizing bilateral trade agreements, reducing trade deficits, and prioritizing fair and reciprocal trade. Notably, Trump has promised to impose tariffs on other nations that export to the United States in an attempt to shore up US-based manufacturing and industries. While this has put major nations such as Canada, China, and the European Union on edge, the Caribbean is in a much better position and may even lead to some positive outcomes. This is because these aforementioned countries have trade surpluses with the United States, especially in core industries. All but 2 Caribbean countries, however, carry trade deficits with the US, i.e., they import more from the US than they send, better positioning the region to avoid the possible negative effects that a renewed trade policy with the US may cause. The 2 countries with trade surpluses, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, may also not see the negative impacts of trade tariffs as their primary export to the United States is oil, which aligns with US foreign policy goals of nearshoring its supply chains. However, considering President-elect Trump's priority on US energy independence, there remains much that can change. Speaking of nearshoring, this phenomenon has been steadily increasing in the United States and is another opportunity for the Caribbean. Nearshoring, relocating supply chains closer to the United States, offers Caribbean nations an opportunity to position themselves as strategic partners due to their geographic proximity, established trade relationships, and competitive labor markets. The Caribbean could benefit from increased foreign direct investment as US companies seek to diversify and secure their supply chains by moving operations closer to home. This shift could stimulate local economies by creating jobs in manufacturing, logistics, and technology, while fostering knowledge transfer and infrastructure development. Sectors such as pharmaceuticals, textiles, and agriculture are particularly well positioned to leverage nearshoring opportunities, given existing expertise and export capabilities in these areas. Moreover, Trump's emphasis on reducing dependency on China for critical goods aligns with the Caribbean's potential to act as a reliable regional hub for trade and production. By engaging in strategic negotiations, Caribbean nations are poised to attract investments from some of the US's biggest companies. By the way, if you're finding value in this video or enjoying the content, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you. Another essential aspect that President Trump's re-election could have on the region is double-sided, where we tend to hear only the negative. President Trump's stance on American energy independence has been a siren of his since his re-election campaign, with his pro-fracking stance playing a pivotal role in the US, achieving record levels of oil and natural gas production. While it is acknowledged that continued reliance on fossil fuels will jeopardize the Caribbean due to its effects on climate change, alternatively, increased oil and gas production reduces the price of fuel. As President Trump promises to increase US production, the world, including the Caribbean, can expect the cost of gas to fall. But beyond it being cheaper to drive your car, this will likely see prices for a host of goods fall. This is because oil is the primary source of many Caribbean countries' electricity supply, which is incorporated into every good produced in the region. In short, increased production of US oil could see prices fall and temper inflation. Additionally, the Caribbean is likely to see increased access to US liquefied natural gas (LNG). The Trump administration has consistently promoted the export of LNG as a cleaner and more affordable alternative to traditional fuels. Caribbean nations, many of which rely heavily on costly imported oil, could reduce energy costs and improve energy security by transitioning to LNG. This shift would not only bolster economic growth, but also support the region's goals for cleaner and more sustainable energy. Finally, President Trump's re-election is expected to positively impact the Caribbean through enhanced opportunities in the tourism sector, a critical driver of the region's economies. The United States is the primary tourist market for most of the English-speaking Caribbean and the region as a whole, so improvements to the US economy are expected to lead to increased tourism in the region. But beyond the ancillary effects of an improved economy, President Trump has been a strong advocate for economic growth in the private sector, and his administration's pro-business policies could encourage US investment in Caribbean tourism infrastructure. Projects such as hotels, resorts, and cruise ship terminals could boost the region's capacity to attract and accommodate more visitors. Additionally, the administration's focus on improving US air travel and trade relations is expected to increase direct flights and travel packages to the Caribbean, making the region more accessible to American tourists who represent a significant share of the visitor market. Furthermore, Trump's administration emphasized security partnerships, which could enhance safety measures across the Caribbean, an essential factor for attracting tourists. Enhanced safety, coupled with local investment and partnerships with US-based agencies, could further solidify the Caribbean's position as a premier destination for American travelers, fostering economic growth and resilience in the sector. There are other opportunities for collaboration and potential positive outcomes with a renewed Trump presidency. For instance, the Caribbean in recent years has been threatened by transnational crime related primarily to narcotics trafficking and simultaneously has been battling with the flow of guns into the region. President-elect Trump's stance on crime has been much sterner than his predecessor, and it appears the region is set to see renewed vigor of US cooperation and assistance under the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, CBSI. Another potential benefit emerges in the aspect of US foreign policy and how the Caribbean can closely align with US connections. As President-elect Trump continues to focus on juxtaposing China, Trump has stated his desire to bring more countries into the fold of the United States and be a counterbalance to President Xi. This gives Caribbean and Latin America the option to be a strong and reliable partner in global affairs, to pursue global policies alongside the United States, and even play both parties to achieve regional successes. The prospect of Donald Trump's re-election as US president is often met with polarized opinions, yet it is not as gloomy for the Caribbean as some might suggest. While yes, Trump has guaranteed an America-first approach to policy, this does not mean the 47th President of the United States is not open to dialogue or cooperation. With a strategic and pragmatic approach, the region stands to benefit significantly from the priorities and policies of the Trump administration. From the nearshoring of supply chains and enhanced trade relations, to opportunities in tourism, energy, and infrastructure development, the Caribbean could position itself as a key partner in hemispheric collaboration. Trump's pro-business and investment-focused policies could create pathways for economic growth, job creation, and technological advancement across the region. His emphasis on energy independence, bilateral trade, and regional security offers opportunities for consensus and agreement on a host of issues. And ultimately, the decisions lie with the region in determining how to proceed and seize advantages. While challenges exist, they also present opportunities for the Caribbean to engage diplomatically, negotiate effectively, and leverage its strategic advantages. With the right leadership and vision, the re-election of Donald Trump could be harnessed as a moment to deepen U.S.-Caribbean relations, drive regional development, and create a more resilient future.
That is it for Late Night Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. Bye-bye.